Welcome to At the Table with D. Monique. Pull up a chair, sit down, relax, and let's chat.
Hello. Welcome back to At the Table with D. Monique. Here we have real conversations with real people sharing their real life stories. I'm your host, D. Monique, and our special guest today is Brandy Wallace. Hey, Brandy.
Hello, how are you?
I'm doing well. How are you doing?
Good. I'm always doing great.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful. So we're going to get into our conversation, but I just want to welcome the folks who are listening with us today. So if this is your first time, welcome to the podcast. If you are a returning guest, we thank you for coming back. And I just want to say, I appreciate you guys sharing the podcast with your friends and your family. I appreciate the messages I receive on like Facebook and Instagram. I just appreciate all that. That lets me know that you guys are cool with the content that we are creating here. So if this is your first time listening to this podcast, you might not know this, but before we get into any conversation, we always get our snacks. And so if you don't have a snack, I want you to pause this podcast, go get your snack, and then come back, okay?
Grab a snack and come back to the table.
All right, you should be back with your snack. And since we have table manners, we're going to let Brandy go first. But Brandy, I think it's important before we eat that we say our grace. Because when I was a young girl, I used to spend a lot of time with my great-grandmother, Lucille, and she always taught us to say our grace before we ate. And so we're just going to take a moment to bow our head and close our eyes and say a grace. So Heavenly Father, we thank you for this food that we're about to receive. We ask that you allow it to bring nourishment to our bodies. We thank you for this and all other blessings. In your son Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
Amen. Now, Brandy, tell us, what are you snacking on?
Okay, so usually I never snack. I always go straight to fast food restaurants, Applebee's, Texas Roadhouse. I eat on the road every day, all day. I don't like to cook. I don't want to cook. I don't want to learn how to cook. I put it in my budget to eat out every day. However, I have teenagers, and these teenagers now have jobs, and they have their own money, and they go to the store and they buy bougie little things like these little fruit packs. It looks like blackberry, raspberry, and blueberries. So they stack the fridge, and I steal their snacks because it's get back time. So that's what I'm having: blackberries, raspberry, and blueberry snack pack, the adult size.
Okay. So, Brandy, we eat on this podcast, so you have to eat something out of that snack pack and tell us how it tastes.
Shoot, no problem. So I was already kind of eating as we were setting up, but my favorite, the blackberry, really good. So she got this from like a Publix and Aldi, somewhere expensive, you know. It tastes even better because it was her money. So that tastes really good.
So, your kids are how old?
17, 16, 14.
Okay.
But they're all about to turn. So the 17, he'll be 18 this year. The 16 will be 17 this year. And the 14 will be 15 this year. So it's
okay.
I'm in the good, and I mean it can be crazy sometimes because teenagers do that whole weird roller coaster, I'm crazy situation. But I always raise them to kind of be as independent as they can without going to jail. So as far as groceries and all that, they handle it all. I feel like a queen in the house. It's anything I want is always here, and they go get it, and I love it. It's very rare anymore, I have to say, go prepare something for me to eat. Now it's just a given, and it's there.
Nice. And so, Brandy, I I know we're gonna get into what you do, but I find it so odd that you eat out because of your business. And we're gonna get into that in just a moment. So folks will know what we're talking about. But when you said that, I was like, Brandy don't cook.
Never. Never.
All right. So let me share what I am snacking on. And I actually have fruit as well, Brandy. There's this gentleman who goes to like Grow Town, and he's just called the Watermelon Man. And he actually has a Facebook page titled I Spy the Watermelon Man. And so um, I don't know if he's an active pastor, or if he's a retired pastor, but when folks see him, they go on the page and they let you know where he is with his truck full of watermelons. And so I got 2 watermelons from him earlier this week. I kept one, and I was like, 2 watermelons is a lot for one person. So I gave the other one to my neighbors. And so I just have some cut up watermelon. And I cut this up earlier. I have been waiting to eat this. It's nice and sweet. And I'm gonna be honest, once I had half of it cut, I was like, I don't feel like cutting anymore. And I didn't want to wrap it and put it in the refrigerator. So I put the rest of it in my what's that thing a Vitamix.
Mm.
I put it on the one power setting. And so it blended all of the watermelon up with it, but it did not blend up the seeds. And so I just strained it, and now I have some watermelon juice, and I love watermelon juice. Sometimes I put lime in it, sometimes I put mint, but this one doesn't have anything in it. It's just straight up watermelon juice. It's so refreshing.
It looks good. And if it came from Watermelon Man, I know it's good. I could have sworn I saw him this morning too. Could have sworn. I ran a
You
Tractor Supply.
so you know about the watermelon man.
Everybody knows the Watermelon Man.
I just found out about him this week, and he has his cool little watermelon hat.
Yeah. And I think he didn't start his Facebook page. I think someone else started it for him. Because I think I met him a couple
Yeah,
years ago.
yeah. Somebody else started the Facebook page, and then people are just spotting him. So no, he didn't start it.
Yeah, because
And
he's an
I
old,
mentioned
old
to
man.
him,
He's an old man.
yeah, he's seasoned.
Very seasoned. But cool dude, though.
Mm, yeah, I love watermelon. It's just so refreshing.
I don't
It's
really
an
care for it.
easy snack. No,
Mm-mm. It's not
what?
sweet enough.
So okay, so some people know how to choose like watermelons. They say, you got to look for the yellow spot that lets you know that it had a long time to sit on the ground and ripen. Some people look for like the growing patterns in the skin of the watermelon. Some people say you got to tap on it. Like they have so many different little ways of telling if it's a sweet watermelon or not.
Nah, I'm
But
accustomed to
honestly,
fake sugar. If it don't taste like fake sugar, it's hard for me. I mean, if in a pinch, if I absolutely have to go healthy, I'll go healthy. But that's very not
yeah,
very rare, but that's not my go-to.
uh,
So if I'm driving past
okay.
McDonald's, Wendy's, I see Watermelon Man, I'm probably gonna go to McDonald's. I'm gonna give him the head nod, but I'm not gonna get anything. I'm probably not.
Okay. Okay, so we got to get into this conversation, okay? Because like I said, all of this is definitely a surprise for me. Uh Knowing what you do, cuz I mean, I I'll tell you guys how I met Brandy. So, we both went to a grant writing class. She was there. I think you were there with your mom, your dad, and your husband, right?
Yep.
Yeah. And so and after the class, we all had a chance to go around and say hello. And I remembered Brandy because she's a farmer, and she had her cute little overalls on. You know, she had the farmer fashion. You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? And so I have a little niece. She's really little. She's in daycare, and she learned about farm animals. And so she kept telling her mom and dad she wanted to go to a farm. So one weekend while they were here visiting, I'd heard about a petting zoo at the local farmers market, right? So I'm like, okay, we're going to go there. I know they're going to have some little animals. I get there, and guess who is running the petting zoo? Brandy! And I'm like, hey, I know you.
Yep.
And so we got to see some of her animals. So let me see. I know you had some ducks out there. You had chicks. You had a cow out there. Two pigs. So one was like a mini pig, and one was the big pig.
Yep.
And then I think you had a goat out there as well. So here's the
Hmm.
deal. Brandy was like, this pig is for bacon. And so I don't eat meat. So if you had told me, like, I don't know, about 5 years ago, I would have been like, well, Brandy, when you going process this pig so I can try some of the bacon? So now I eat bacon. I eat fake bacon. However, for those who are listening, they already know, and I want to let you know, Brandy. I am, though I chose not to eat meat. I do not judge anybody because they still eat meat. This is a personal choice that I have made, and not everybody, wants to choose that lifestyle. So please don't think that you have to, you know, change your conversation of what you're going to say because I choose not to eat meat. Okay.
Yeah, no, I don't. I don't change my conversation.
Yeah. But I like folks to be real because here's the deal. I used to eat meat. I remember how it tastes. I can even tell you how to cook it. You know what I mean? Like that. It is what it is. So yeah. So when I ran into Brandy and we started chatting again, and I was like, "Hey, Brandy, you want to come on my podcast?" Because I don't know about you guys, but I have never met a black woman who's a farmer. Yes.
Yeah, it's a few
I'm
of us
going
out
to.
there. They're kind of like not in the public eye, but once you get in the group, yeah, there's a good little stick. It's a thick group. They're out there.
Really?
Yeah, and most of my farming friends, most of them, I would say 85, 90%, the wife or the woman in the family started the farm, and the husband kind of just comes along with it. Um, yeah, but yeah, especially on this side of town, the Hepzibah, Burke County, Keysville, all the farmers I know that are black,
Mm-hmm.
it's the woman in the family that started it.
Okay. Hey, Brandy, is your cord moving? There's
Nope.
something kind of sounds like an ocean wave.
Uh,
Like it sounds like air. Like ooh. I don't know how. I don't know how to
I
describe
don't know.
it.
It could be the ghost in my
Are you
closet.
play? See how if I don't know when I'm talking, do you see where there's like three lines moving?
Nope. Yes.
Oh, okay. Okay. So don't talk, and you'll see that your three lines still move. Maybe it is a ghost.
I made a portal in this house accidentally, I believe. Everyone makes fun of me behind it, but I think I accidentally made a portal in this house.
Okay. So what do you mean by a portal?
Like something that spirits can come through in and out. I think that I
Really?
accidentally made a portal.
How'd you do that?
Exactly. So I get up really, really early, and not this year, but last year, I had a not I guess a New Year's resolution, but I would read at least 1 hour in the morning when I woke up, and then read 1 hour before I went to sleep. But because I get up at like 5 in the morning naturally, it doesn't matter what
Mhm.
day of the week, where I am, 5 in the morning, my eyes are opening. My husband does not get up that early. So we have a junk closet that I said I'm going to tear everything out of the closet and turn it into my reading closet. So I did, tore everything out, painted the walls really cool. It looks like a library in there, put fake flowers and the whole shebang, a chair, a little teeny stool desk, all that. But to make it look
Mhm.
bigger, I put a mirror on one side of the wall. But the one side of the wall is cut in a weird angle, so we had to actually cut the mirror. So I asked my husband to put the mirror on the wall, but as he put the mirror on the wall, it cracked in a really kind of weird, crazy pattern. So after the mirror cracked, a couple days after, that room just wasn't welcoming to me anymore. I didn't feel comfy in there. I didn't want to go in there. I didn't feel comfy going in and shutting the door with me in the closet. Um, and then the lights stopped working in there. We never had a problem with the lights. Lights just would not work. Hit the switch up and down, nothing. But then sometimes at 2, 3 in the morning, the light would turn on in the closet. So I had no clue what was going on, but I just kept the door shut and said, forget it. I'm not using that reading room. I'll just go read in the kitchen like I've been doing for years. So
Mhm.
one day that closet door was open. I don't know who opened it, but I told my family, stop opening that closet door, leave it shut. It was open.
Yeah.
I had a big black cat named Hakeem. Hakeem was my road dog.
Mhm.
He doesn't sleep in the bed, but sometimes he will jump on the bed. So husband's out of town. I'm sleeping in bed. I feel the cat jump on my back and he's hissing, looking in a corner of the room. I look over in the corner of the room. Now I do wear glasses and my glasses were off. So maybe I don't know if I was disoriented waking up or maybe my mind playing tricks on me or maybe I saw what I'm about to tell you. It looked like there was a man in a black coat and a black fishing hat type thing in the room staring at me. The cat is on my back hissing at the man, and then the figure goes away. So in my mind, from then on, I was like, "That's it. I made a portal. That's it. I made a portal. This weird man came through. I don't know where he came from. That thing is a portal." So I have never gone through it. I've never gone in that closet again, ever.
Wow. Now, do are I don't know, do you want to have somebody come in and like see if they could get the man out of your house?
No, he went upstairs. So he's not bothering me. Now, my teenage son said that sometimes he hears stuff upstairs, and I asked him that same question, and he was like, "No, it's okay." So I left it alone. He left it doesn't bother me. It doesn't bother me. And my son said that he's fine with it if it is upstairs. It's not bothering him. So I guess the man just somewhere in here. I don't know, being nosy, thumbing through our stuff.
Wow. Can I include this in the interview?
Yeah. Yep.
Wow.
Mhm.
That's kind of freaky.
I know. And I wouldn't have believed like if I would have really thought my mind was playing tricks on me, but I have had Hakeem that cat for 7 years. He has never done anything like that before, and he jumped on my back and looked. I mean, there's no there's no other explanation that I have come up with so far. So it is what it is. I made a portal, and my husband says, "No, you didn't make no portal. Hey, no, you didn't make no portal." I think I made a portal and I'm staying away from it. That's just that closet is now ruined. I'm not going in there. It is what it is.
Hmm. So, Brandy, where are you from? Are you from this area?
Nope. So originally I'm from Virginia, but I've been in Georgia now. I think it's been about 8 years, 7 or 8 years.
So, what made you move to Georgia?
So really, I never saw myself leaving home, but my husband did a training at Fort Gordon a while back, and then he said, there's some real cheap houses out there. It was when the homes were cheap here, and I mean real dirt cheap. So he kept saying
Hmm.
Augusta, Augusta, Augusta. So I said, fine, we'll take a look. It got to the point where I was like, look, that's it. I'm ready to buy some property. So spin the globe, pick a spot, let's go. Make a decision, let's go, I'm ready. So he said, let's go back to Georgia. I said,
Hmm.
fine. Now, my husband does not like the farm life. So he wanted kind of like a Leave It to Beaver neighborhood type situation. So I said, fine. However, I don't like HOAs. I do not want a neighborhood to tell me what I can and can't have, what I can do. I don't like it. So I said, you need to find
Right.
an area where I can play and be me, and you have your Leave It to Beaver. Find the happy middle. So our realtor, she was like, well, Hepzibah's where you want to go. There's like it's super country. There's no rules. It's really quiet. It stank a little
Oh,
bit, but it's super quiet. So I said, okay, fine. Didn't realize the stank was so
yeah.
bad. However, I was like, we can deal with it. A paper mill, so what? It is not that bad. We can deal with it. So jumped in a home. I didn't even really care about what the house looked like. I looked at the property. Our home is on almost 1 acre. So I said that this is it. It had trees. It was sloped perfectly. There were some natural plants, native plants growing that I wanted growing on the property. So really, I didn't care what the house looked like. I didn't care if it was falling to pieces. I wanted the backyard. So we jumped in the backyard.
Uh-huh.
I turned it into a homestead, but then we quickly outgrew it. But the farm down the street from us went up for sale and auction. So we bought the farm. And then my home is literally 2 minutes away from the farm. I could really, if I wanted to golf cart over to the farm, I could.
Nice. Well, the paper mill must have gotten better because I don't ever smell anything.
Oh, no, it tears me up early in the morning. So early in the morning, like maybe 5-ish, 6-ish, it stinks so bad.
Hmm.
And when you blow your breath in the air, it's like white. You can see
Uh-huh.
the film in the air. Even when it's hot outside, it's not cold. You can still see it in the air. It stinks bad on this side. But maybe I would say a block away from me, whatever that block's length
Hmm.
is, there's a lady has a
Uh-huh.
real big pond on her property. So I don't know if that stagnant water plays a part, but nah, it stank.
Okay. It don't stink, it stank.
Yes, it stank bad.
Okay. So how did you get into farm life? Like what made you want to do this? Did you grow up on a farm? Did your family members have a farm?
So I grew up on about, I want to say it was like 10 acres. However, my parents didn't do anything with it. So it was just natural property. I can't even remember what it's called. It was some type of bird haven or bird's cove, something like that, where it's actually a sanctuary of some type now. So it was strictly
Okay.
woods, birds and deer
Hmm.
everywhere, that type of thing, but they didn't do any crops or livestock. Now, I was a farmer in my head, so maybe around second grade. I'm an avid reader. I love to read. I read all the time. I read Charlotte's Web in the second grade. I knew in my mind right then and there after I read that book the first time because I ended up reading it like I almost could memorize the book. That's how much I read it. I was a farmer in the second grade in my mind, so I used to read all type of farming material, books, you name it.
Hmm.
But I never got any animals or livestock until I hit 18. So even when I wasn't supposed to have animals, like for instance, my first place was an apartment. So what? It had about small little patio balcony type thing. I had two chickens, two little chickens and a little teeny
Yeah.
chicken coop on the patio. And it just snowballed from there. No matter where I was, whether we were in a townhome, in an area where I knew I couldn't have livestock, nothing, the rules never stopped. The rules never stopped me
Right.
from getting the most animals I ever had. I was in a neighborhood with a full blown HOA, and I had two cows, goats, pigs, turkeys, chickens, ducks, rabbits, and a dog. Yeah. Mhm. And that was on
Yeah.
about
So
maybe like a half an acre.
did you get fined by your HOA?
Never. Never.
Really?
Yep. And it was really weird
Oh,
because there would be people that would move into the neighborhood behind me and say, oh, I want to get chickens. And the HOA would ban them and say, no, you can't have it. And they would say, well, that lady down the street has it. And they'll say, nope, she's grandfathered in, leave her alone. There's no more after her. And how I got that title, I don't know. I never asked. I never like signed anything, but no one ever
you
bothered
just
me
roll
about it.
with it.
Yeah. There was one time I
Yeah.
had 9 roosters, and I mean, they would go off like a full blown chorus every morning. Nobody ever said anything.
Yeah. When I lived in Augusta for 1 year before I moved over here to Hepzibah, and the neighbors, I didn't know that my neighbors had roosters, right? But I would hear them, and I was like, where's that coming from? But the way their yard was, you couldn't see the cages, right? But this
Hmm.
yard in this house that I was renting, it was like a football field. And I never went to the back of the yard until the pandemic because like when I moved there, it was kind of cool, right?
Hmm.
But the pandemic happened, we were all locked in the house, and so I started walking the backyard. And when
Yep.
I walked all the way to the back of the yard, I was like, that's where it's coming from. But I'll tell you what, because you would think with the animals, you would think there would be like a foul stench, right?
Hmm.
It was not.
No.
I didn't. No, it was very clean, and it was kind of camouflage. But yeah, it wasn't until I walked to the back of the football field that I saw
Yeah.
that I
Hmm.
saw that they had them over there. Yeah.
Yep.
So
That's how we were.
you
People were shocked.
uh-huh, that you had these animals, and it was just a noise. Other
Yeah.
than that, no smell or anything.
Mm-mm.
Yeah. So you said you had your farm for 7 years, 7 to 8 years now.
No, we lived here for 7 to 8 years in Georgia.
Okay.
But we switched to Big Farm 3 years ago. But before then, I had been
Okay.
homestead farming since I was 18, so almost 20 years.
Okay. So tell me, what are the animals that's on your farm?
So we have starting from biggest all the way down. We have a llama. We have some Shetland ponies, some cows, a calf, sheep, goats, pigs, rabbits, chicken, duck, quail, turkey. We have 2 farm dogs, and I think that's everybody. And then, like when chicks are born, chicks and ducklings, that type of thing.
Okay. So what's the purpose of your farm?
So it started out just being my sanctuary. I always wanted a
Mm-hmm.
farm. That was my goal. I was working on my farm. It was for me, myself, and I. Didn't have any plans
Mm-hmm.
of letting the public come and partake or enjoy. It was just what I wanted. Um, and then it kind of quickly snowballed into a full blown business where now the public is invited and we're even going out into the public almost every other day. I'm shocked that I'm not out today. The forecast kind of like scared folks away from booking parties today because I guess it was supposed to
Mm-hmm.
rain, but it's very rare that I'm not out doing an event.
Yeah, because I was saying, you have the petting zoo. How did you get started with the petting zoo?
So the petting zoo actually was one of those crazy situations. It didn't really fall in my lap, but it kind of all pieced together. And so let me explain. So I
Okay.
always had these animals, and here and there, neighbors would come over with their grandkids or kids, and they'd come and see and look. Neighborhood kids would go to the back and play with the animals. No big deal. So I joined a gardening club, an online gardening club, and a lady had put out an ad saying, "Hey, we're going to do a plant swap on this day at this time, this location." So I didn't really have any plants that I wanted to swap out for, but I knew that I wanted to get something happened to my cucumber, so I needed to replace them. So I went to the plant swap,
Mm-hmm.
and I had planned on just purchasing them from the lady. Get there, pick out the
Mm-hmm.
plants. I know what I want. I don't have my wallet. Like I'm searching my pockets, search the truck. I completely left my wallet at home. But I didn't want
Mm-hmm.
to go home without the plant and then somebody come behind me and buy it. So I just so happened
Right.
to have a few ducks in the truck. I can't remember why I had them, if I was transporting them somewhere or if I just picked them up. But I told the lady, I said, look, I don't have any money, but would you take a duck for, this plant? I want this plant. I'll give you one of my ducks if you give me the plant. So she kind of looked at me like, what? And in my mind, that was a reasonable question. Like,
A
what's wrong with
great
you, lady?
trade.
Do you want this duck? Yes or no? Because I have to hurry up and go to the ATM if you don't. So, I mean, go home to get
Uh-huh.
my wallet if you don't. So she just kept
Uh-huh.
laughing, and then she said, "They're your ducks." So I'm like, "Yes, they're my ducks. Will you take it? Yes or no?" And she said, "Do you have more animals?" Yeah, I have a whole bunch. Like, but can I have this plant? That's really all I'm concerned with right now. Is I want this plant. So she goes, just
Right.
keep the plant, keep the plant. But can you bring some of your animals to a function that me and my friends are having at the community garden? So I, sure, fine, whatever, no big deal. So I end up coming out with a goat on a leash. Because this goat, she was just trained to be on a leash. I treated her like a dog. It went really well.
Mhm.
Everyone loved it. I was shocked that so many people were like, "Wow, a goat!" Because to me, that's nothing. It's just a goat. So then the same
Uh-huh.
lady said, "Okay, can you do this again, but at the market?" So I, sure, why not? So I go down there with a goat. I think I had like a chicken in my arm, and I think that's it. Maybe like the goat on a leash and a chicken in my arm. I get there. There's a table set up, a tent. She puts a donation bucket on the table. So I'm like, I don't know what's going on, but whatever. So we ended up making a good chunk of change that day in donation. Like when I say good chunk of change, I'm talking about a thick little knot of
A
money.
good.
Yeah.
Right.
So I come home and I tell my husband, I'm like, hey, I met this lady and look what she did. She set up this table and people were, the goat's name was Mama. I was like, people were paying to pet
Uh-huh.
Mama. And he was like, there's no way. There's no way. People paid you to touch that stinking goat. And I was like, yeah, people paid me to touch Mama. So then he goes, okay, okay. He can't believe it, but when I showed him the money, his mouth dropped. Because at the time, I'm a
Right.
housewife. I'm homeschooling my kids, housewife. So money's not tight, but it's when you're a housewife, you kind of try to be, well, at least I tried to be. Didn't spend as much money as I'd like to because we're a one income home. So I go to
Right.
sleep, take a nap. It's been a long day. I wake up. He has applied for a business license. He got me a second phone. He's printing labels and he has a website going. And he goes, okay, you're going to go back next weekend. You're going to do it again. But this time, charge people, charge them. So I'm like, I don't know if I want to do this, but okay, let's see. Now he comes with me. He's excited. We are charging people at the time $3 a person to come in. It went really well, like so well that my husband didn't even give me the option of saying I don't want to do this. He was like, "Okay, this is the move. You're gonna do this from now on, and that's what it's gonna be." So a year goes by. We've been doing it. Increase prices a little bit more. Keep increasing prices a little bit more. Adding on to packages. Before I know it, it's a full blown, it's a brand where my family is into it, his family is into it. We have paraphernalia, shirts, we're on the news, we're in the newspaper. I mean, it's just really blowing up right before my eyes. And every day I come home like it's all started from just little old me and mama on a leash. But it's snowballing into something
Wow.
really huge.
Wow.
Mhm.
That's so awesome. Yeah,
Yeah.
because yeah, so I didn't know that you went to other places besides the market, but there was a festival here, remember? And I saw
Mhm.
you out there, and I mean, all the little kids were just like gravitating towards you. And it was funny because there were some kids, and I mean, you were so patient with the children because there were some kids that were picking up one of the ducks and they were like trying to like hit another kid, and you were like, no fighting with the ducks. I mean, you were like, so calm. because I probably would have been like, "What are you doing with my
Yep.
dog?"
You'll be surprised. And I get that all the time. People, and I can see it on their face. Other adults are like, they're getting ready to have a full blown panic attack. But I mean, I think by nature I'm super calm when it comes to a stressful situation. Now I can't amp up. It's not
Yeah.
like I can't get angry or upset. I can, but for the most part,
Right.
um, I even if something like terrible happens where I should panic, I don't. And I want to panic. It just doesn't set in. But when it comes to the kids, I mean, they're kids. And I think a
They're
lot of
kids.
times, yeah, parents forget that one, like I always tell folks, humans are super predators. We are. We are super predators. It is in us from little. You can hand a baby, like 8 months old, 9 months old, a little baby chicken, and they're going to try to squeeze it. They're gonna hurt it. It's in us. We have to be taught how to be
Mm-hmm.
gentle because naturally humans can be really, really cruel. So they just have
Mm-hmm.
to be taught. And then a lot of times with video games being the new norm of playing for children, people forget how children
Mm-hmm.
play because growing up, my grandma put me outside 6 in the morning and we didn't come back in until it was time for dinner. And some of the games that we
Uh-huh.
played out in the streets in the park, it was violent. But that those are the games that kids play. Kids like to fight. They like to test the
Mm-hmm.
waters. They're tussling around, jumping off of things, and it's natural for a child. It's not natural for a child to sit behind a video game. So when parents see their children interacting with animals, sometimes they kind of
Mm-hmm.
freak out, like, ah! But that's a natural characteristic. Children do that. Children do that. They're going
Yeah.
to be
I
rough
would
with animals.
see, and I thought it would be. I thought it would actually be the opposite. Like if kids saw, like, say your chicks, you would think they would see it like a baby, right, and
Mm-mm.
be kind of gentle with it.
Nope.
No,
They see
they're
it like a
they're kind of
ball.
rough.
They want to throw it. They take the feet and pinch them together, and because they can control it. It's something smaller than them.
Uh huh.
They can control it. They'll make it drink and eat food. And I tell them, look, the chicken's not ready to drink. Oh yes, it is. It's ready to drink. And they're shoving their head in the water, like, friend, let's not do that. Because if I took you by the hair and
Yeah.
shoved your head in the water, now you're crying. So, and they have to be taught that.
Mm-hmm.
So, and if they're not taught that,
Yeah.
then they grow up thinking, yeah, I'll do whatever I want. They have to be
Mm-hmm.
taught, and that's
Yeah.
why also sometimes I let the animals fight back. So if the children are really rough, and I can see like, oh, that goat's about to headbutt somebody, but I let the animal fight back. We have liability waivers. You came in, I'll announce it. Hey, if you're rough with that goat, she's gonna headbutt you. They still want to be
Mm-hmm.
rough with her. She'll fight back, and that's a lesson they need to have.
Yeah. Then they need to learn the consequences of their actions.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Parents too.
Yeah.
Parent, I tell parents all the
Yeah.
time. I said, hey, you sit back and you watch your kid doing this. Your kid gets bit. Don't yell at that rabbit. You're
Yeah.
watching the whole
Yeah.
time.
Yeah. So do you you're so you did state to me that you're a sanctuary. So when folks are, I guess, no longer interested in raising their animals, you're taking them, they donate them to your
Yes.
farm?
Yeah. So, and the way that
What?
happened was actually weird. So, we're not on paper as a sanctuary. A lady called and said, hey, I have some goats. I can't afford them anymore. Would you take them? Sure. Yeah. Throw them on the compound. Word spread quick around these parts that we were taking unwanted animals. I mean, people started just dumping roosters, goats, bunnies, pigs, you name it. It was like, wow, how many animals are out here? Because this is crazy. I even had a lady call and say, would you take in 52 horses? Like, no, no, I cannot take in 52 horses. But so word got out that Wallace's farm will come and pick it up, which we will. But by paper, we are not a sanctuary.
So how do you take care of all of these animals that are donated?
The petting zoo. And that's why we're really
Okay.
adamant on right now we're charging $5 a person to come in to the petting zoo, or we do private parties starting at $100 an hour. And a lot of times people will come down to the market and, they'll say, oh, well, how come this isn't free? Which really, I don't get it. They walk through a tunnel of people selling things. You got
Selling
lemonade
items.
for like
Mhm.
$8. You have a blanket that'll cost you $80. You have, I mean, it's so expensive. Then they come all the way down the chute and expect me to be free. When if they were to watch me set up, I mean, I'm working
Mhm.
like it is really, really
Yeah.
a lot of labor putting together that petting zoo and running it. So we charge money so we can then take care of all these animals throughout the week. We have some folks that
Mhm.
reach over, don't want to pay, will say, I'm not paying for this, reach over and grab an animal anyway. I think at that point, that's when we kind of jokingly say, "Oh, you're stealing. You owe me money. Touch that animal," and it kind of like lightens the effect that you're actually really stealing. You're stealing because this is
Yeah.
what I'm
Yeah.
selling out here.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hmm.
And I mean, it's $5.
Yeah,
They've,
it's
like
five
you said,
bucks.
all the all of the items that folks are selling out there, and they go and buy a what? Because there's a family out there that has like that sausage stand. They
Yeah.
go there. Yeah. Have
One
you
meal,
saw it? They
yeah, one meal is costing you on average from any stand out there at least $15 to $17 for one meal. And
Yeah.
most of the time, because I dumpster dive at the Riverwalk for my pigs, all those plates are in the
Hmm.
trash down by us, and I just go get them right out the trash and give it to the pig. So if you're comfy
Yeah.
throwing away a $17 to $20 plate, there's no way. If you want to come into the petting zoo, you should have. There's no way you should have a problem
Yeah.
paying $5 to come in. Now there's some folks that walk by, oh, it stinks. Oh, I don't want to get dirty. I completely get that. But the folks that
Hmm.
want to touch the animals and then openly say they don't want to pay, now at that point, um, we have no problem letting them know that they're stealing, or we'll jokingly say,
Hmm.
after they touch, oh, that's $20, $20 a touch. You've touched 4 times now, ante up. And it so sometimes we'll
Hmm.
jokingly say it, and I never force anyone to pay after they've already touched without paying, but I do kind of want to open their mind, like, hey, maybe I am doing something wrong, because you are.
Yeah. Yeah. Have you thought about putting an extra exterior gate up to protect?
Yeah. So we did that before, and we had people actually jump the gate. We've had people, when our backs were turned, throw their child into the inside the fencing, like, "Hey, just go touch him, just go touch him," that type of thing.
No.
Yeah, we've had folks screaming and yelling. Said, "This $5? Why would I pay $5?" Hey, you don't have to pay anything. You can keep on pushing. But I think what helps us, Wallace's Farms, that is, we are. I do believe in customer service, but I let everyone know up front first that we are real around the way folks. So my favorite line is, hey, we're not offering any discounts today, but uppercuts are always free around here. So if you want one of those, those come. I mean, and we're all very farm strong. So
Right.
and I think once they see, like, okay, I get it. It's customer service, yes, but however, these are regular people, and if it was to break out into
Hmm.
some type of brawl, you might have a problem. So,
Yeah.
come correct, be respectful. We'll always be respectful, and even if they're not respectful, I will always be respectful. But if I hit that switch where I feel like, all right, yeah, it's time to roll, we have no problem rolling.
Yeah.
No
Like you take
problem.
it's kind of like you said, it's stealing, and you're taking advantage of somebody's kindness. Like you said, it takes time, because I
Yeah.
would imagine you have to first get out there, you have to put up all your fences, right?
Hmm.
And then you have to, maneuver the animals to go in the space that you have reserved for them. And it's
Hmm.
not like you can hold them by the hand like a little
Oh
kid and
no.
say, "Okay, you go there." No, the animals probably want to go left when you
Yep.
want them to go right.
Hmm. It's like a whole
Yeah.
circus fiasco getting the animals down from the truck down to that area. But it's actually it's turned into a show, and I like it. I enjoy bringing the animals through the crowd. We found out which
Hmm.
animals like the crowd, which ones don't. There was a time I used to bring a really big cow, and her name is Rose. Rose, I want to say at that time she had to have been about 800 pounds, and if you're in
Wow.
Rose's way, there's no excuse me, there's no nothing. She's pushing right through. So it became kind of like funny, but then at the same token I was like, all right, Rose is too big, because like, if she was to mow down some folks that couldn't recover, we're in trouble. So um a lot of
Yeah.
the time the pig screams her way all the way down. People are recording and laughing, and I like it. It's funny, it's fun, it's a show. However, it is still very
Hmm.
hard work.
Yeah. I would imagine. So I know you're working the farm. Your husband's now invested a little bit. Do you have other staff members that help you to run the farm and the petting zoo?
Just the petting zoo. So right now at the farm, we take volunteers, and then of course my kids have no choice. But we did hire 5 folks to help out at the petting zoo, because it just got that packed and crazy. We had a few folks steal some animals. We had a few
No
folks,
way.
yeah. So we had to really like step it up and get some staff, because it was getting crazy.
Which animals were they stealing?
We had a pig stolen when it was a baby. I mean, this thing was like couldn't have been no more than 2 weeks old. So at that size, they're like 6 inches long. So the person just slipped right out. We've had baby chicks stolen, bunny stolen. We stopped a lady from walking away with a baby goat. Um, so it's just all a matter of just watching. Oh, we've had our wagons, like some of our equipment stolen. Um, and then, believe it or not, we had a guy. It was an older guy who, I guess he would let his dog come up to the fence and I guess scare the animals. But one day, the dog got a hold of one of the goats. So that was kind of like a crazy situation. So we needed staff. We needed staff. We needed help.
Yeah. You know the audacity of folks to walk away with your animals.
Yeah, yeah, thieves. Yeah, they never have audacity. Whether they stealing from
Yeah.
Walmart, the gas station, food line, or the petting zoo, a thief is a thief is a thief.
Thieves are gone thief.
Yes.
Gosh. Oh my goodness. Um, so you just mentioned about Rose, she was kind of big, so you stopped taking her down there. I noticed when I've seen you at the petting zoo and when I saw you at the festival, most of the animals are kind of small. Is that because you don't want to deal with the more mature ones that maybe are too big? Or
Yeah.
is it
Well, the
because you have a lot of little kids and you want baby animals?
So it's a little of both. So the mature animals are
Okay.
not going to put up with getting touched for hours. They're just not. They're going to accept maybe about 2, 3 pets, and you got to fight on your hands. And I mean, they are going to
Okay.
fight. But the younger ones, they really don't know any better. Half the time, they take a whole bunch of naps, so they're sleeping. It's easier for people to hold them. Also, the petting zoo arena is kind of like agro-tourism. So to
Mhm.
maximize your money, you want to market things where people can get like what I like to call Instagram shots, Facebook shots, that type of thing. So even
Mhm.
if the person really doesn't care about animals, they're still going to pay to come into the petting zoo to hold a 5-day-old pig, take their picture, and then walk right out. So they're just paying for
Mhm.
a whole bunch of likes on Facebook. So a lot of people in the agro-tourism, or I like to call it agro-party world, kind of we kind of look for those type of things. So like if a baby is born on the compound, I'm so excited because I know that baby's going to bring me a lot of money the next time I go out, because everybody wants the baby. Nobody wants to hold a
Yeah.
like a 200-pound stinking goat with balls this big. They want that little teeny baby. They want the baby. So
Okay.
so we bring
Okay.
out who
Okay.
sells the most.
Okay. So do you sell any of your animals for consumption?
Yes. So last year we because we eat off of our farm also, we would kind of sell little things here and there to friends and neighbors. This year we're
Mm-hmm.
actually doing meat sales. So we sell goat meat currently through Augusta Locally Grown at their Thursday markets, Thursday nights from 4 to 7 p.m. We sell goat meat.
Mm-hmm.
It's $8 a pound. And that's about it. We're getting ready to start beef and other meats, but the petting zoo
Mm-hmm.
is just so busy during warm season. It's hard to really dedicate time to the meat sales.
Do you process the animals yourself, or do you take them to a processing center?
Both. So certain facilities require that they're processed at a FDA, USDA facility like Augusta Locally Grown. So we take it to the processor when we sell through them. However, there are some folks that'll just come up to the farm and say, hey, I want to buy this goat. And I say take the clothes off, but it's really taking the fur and the hide and everything. They'll say, can you go ahead and dress it for me? Sure. I pull down the lip of the back truck. I go ahead, open that thing up, get it wrapped up, Ziploc bagged up, come and get it.
Wow. So you process the animals.
Hmm.
How did you have to go through any special training to do that? Or is it
Nope.
something that you just learned?
So, my favorite teacher in the world, YouTube. So a lot of the stuff I hit YouTube and just did it until I perfected it. And then I figured out, oh, I like this knife
Mm-hmm.
over this knife, or I like this grinder better than this one, or oh, I don't like when I string up the
Mm-hmm.
animal on this tree because it just waves weird. I like doing it this way. So I just took
Mm-hmm.
action. And then I believe someone
Mm-hmm.
told me 10,000 hours of doing something, you become a professional. And it just many hours have
Mm-hmm.
gone by, many years of processing, and now it's no biggie.
Okay. Um, I want to know if someone came up to you right now and say, "Hey, Brandy, I want to start a farm too." What would you what advice would you give them?
So we actually get that all the time. So if that's what they truly want to do, which I believe, now this is what I believe, um, folks who truly want to do something, they kind of already know what to do. They just need someone to push them to do it. It's kind of like that leap off of a cliff. You know what you have to do. If you really want to do it, you've already been reading into it, you've been watching videos on it, whether it's like little TikToks or YouTubes. You're kind of learning different breeds of different animals and what you could do in the farm world. So you already kind of know what to do. So I'll ask them,
Mm-hmm.
well, what have you done? What steps have you already taken towards getting a farm? And if they say they have
Mm-hmm.
no clue, they've done nothing, honestly, I'm not going to waste my time. That means you don't want a farm. You just want to talk about the farm. You want to talk about farm life.
Mm-hmm.
And that's cool too. I'll talk to you about farm life. But if you want the real nitty gritty of like my do's and don'ts, and I wish I would have, and I wish I wouldn't have, and ooh, if I could turn around and do it this way, I would go through these people. You have to have already taken a few steps in the farming world for me to get that nitty gritty. So if you're already trying to get into the farm world and you've tried a few things, whether you got two, three chickens in the back or a couple raised gardens in the back, if you're looking for land that you want to own, I would say look at some of the auction lands. Look at some of the lands for lease in the area. There's a whole bunch land that is sold by the actual owner. Some of these properties already have homes on it. Some of these properties already have crops established or like horse fencing established already around it. Um,
Mm-hmm.
then instead of always relying on grants, start selling what you have. For instance, I met a lady who her backyard is probably 1/4 of an acre. So it's not that big.
Mm-hmm.
This lady turned her whole backyard into a grocery store. And from just that one little, I want to say it's like 30 raised beds in her backyard, she is pumping out so much produce and getting so much money for that little small area. It's no biggie for her to go ahead
Mm-hmm.
and grow up to something big because she has a plan in motion. She's already taken action. She's kind of seeing what works for her, what doesn't. Um, I never
Yeah.
would advise just tanking all your money into a farm. You have no plan. You don't know what you want to do. You don't know how to do
Hmm.
anything. And now you're kind of stuck with this empty land. So work with what you have, even if you have no land. If you want to do aeroponic towers in the house, if you want to raise quail in the garage, work with what you have and then gradually get up to what you want. But once you jump in the game, you'll see what things kind of work for you and what you like, what you don't like before you make some big money decisions.
Yeah. That's great advice. Um, like you said, don't put all of your money into the farm
Yeah, no.
because if it doesn't, yeah, if it doesn't go the way that you want it to go, then you've kind of lost it all. And
Yeah.
then some people say go all the way in. And, it's like, but I think some people say, hey, go out. And that way, sometimes you got to learn the hard way. Um, but I do think that's good advice. Start off small, kind of, grow into it. So you have chicks. Do you sell eggs?
Nah. So we have in my area, my parents have moved here now. My husband's mother is
Mhm.
here. My sister is not too far away. So what happens is my family ends up scraping everything out before I even get to the position to sell any of the eggs. Even with the meat, sometimes
Mhm.
I gotta like tell my family like, all right now, okay, we gotta save some for sale. Like I'm not just slaughtering all these animals and feeding the whole family for free. But
Right.
and I also free range my chickens. And what that means is there's no coop. They sleep in the trees. So half the
Mhm.
time, I don't even know where the eggs are. I would have to go hunting for the
Okay.
eggs daily. So, nah.
Okay. Do you grow produce?
Only for me and my family. So at my personal home, about one fourth quarter is I'm growing stuff in raised beds, and then on the actual farm, about half an acre. I'm growing different things from corn to squashes to beans. My sister's getting married in September, so I want to do an ample amount of sunflowers for her wedding, that type of thing. So it's not like organized. We're more so the livestock farmers and
Mhm.
meat producers, and agro party.
Mhm.
Agro party is big for our business. Um, but the crops, nah, it's little stuff for me and the family.
Okay. Do you teach any classes, Brandy?
Oh yeah. So we used to teach
Yep.
at the farm, but I've been relocating all the students over to the hub through Augusta Locally Grown. So for instance, the
Mhm.
class I held last Thursday was about meat rabbits. The one before was about raising goats. The one before raising chickens. If I know how to do it, I will teach it. And even if I don't know how to do it, I'll go take a class until I can figure out how to do it and then come and teach it. But if it's something that I do on the regular, all the time, I love showing others.
That's cool. Yeah, because I mean, you seem to be so like comfortable. So
Hmm.
I would think, because you're so comfortable with it, it'll be easy for you to go in there and like, hey, yeah, you do this, you do this, this. And folks are sitting there with their papers and pens. Um, I want to know for someone who is starting to farm, say they don't have any money, like I said, we met at a grant writing class. Is there money out there for folks who want to get into farming if they just don't have it saved?
So, yes and no. Now, this is what I have run into, and I'm not a professional on grants because I was in the class, so I'm still learning too. However, yes, there's a lot of money out there, but if you are just starting out with no plan, you have no history of farming, nothing proven on paper that you know what you're talking about or you know what you're doing, nope, you're going to get denied every single time. So for me, we had been farming for many, many years, cash only. And so even though I knew what I was talking about, my plan was great, I had no way of showing the USDA that I could farm the way I said I could farm because I never put anything on my taxes. I didn't have anything on paper. So once I changed that and I got a bookkeeper, started reporting the farm money to taxes and all that. Then I was able
Mhm.
to show some folks that I could actually farm the way I say I can, and I did. I've gotten one grant so far, and that was for 10 grand. 10 grand. So it's out
Okay.
there. However,
Mhm.
now for me, and I hope this doesn't come across as cocky, but sometimes the amount that they award, like for instance, if a grant is awarding $2,000, $3,000, instead of me spending a whole week trying to put together this perfect proposal to submit for 2, $3,000, I'll just go beat the streets for a weekend and make the same amount. So I'll just set up the petting
Yeah.
zoo somewhere from Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and just sit there until I get everything I need. Um, so I would sometimes rather beat the streets and make the money the old fashioned way as opposed to writing something
Mhm.
up. But I'm not good at writing. Now, if I was good at writing, it probably would be the other way around. But for me, if it's not a high dollar amount, it's easier for me to just beat the streets.
Mhm. And I think that makes sense, because not only do you have to spend the time writing up the proposal, but then you also have to wait to
Yeah,
see if they're going to give it to you.
and then it comes with
Yeah.
many rules. I mean, so many stipulations. The grant that I just got came with so many rules and stipulations. I'm honestly a little nervous, but I know I can do it. It's just something new, um, but it was a little intimidating.
Yeah. So you you mentioned that you have volunteers and then you also sell some of your meat. So I want you to tell us, how do people get in contact with you if they want to volunteer or if they want to buy some of your goat meat?
So the best way is to either follow us on our website, which is wallacesfarmga.com. That's WALLACESFARMGA.com. We'll say where we're going to be, the next coming up events. Now, me and cell phones do not get along. I actually have two cell phones. So many people complain, oh, I've called and you didn't pick up. I'm probably not going to pick up. I ain't going to lie. I'm not going to pick up. My hands are probably covered in crap, or I'm sweating from like head to toe, and I don't have. If I had 8 hands, and maybe I'd pick up the phone, but it's just too much work daily. So email works best for me. So after a long day at the farm, after I take my shower, I go sit at the computer at night and answer all the emails. And email is Wallace's Farm 2018 at gmail.com. And in a pinch, text message. Sometimes in between work, and I'll shoot back a text message. But like an actual phone
Yeah.
call, that's so hard for me. If you can't fit what you need to say in 140 characters or less, I need to schedule a meeting time with you because it has to be very fast. Like, I don't. I wish I
Right,
could just say
right.
hello. What do you want? Like I skip all the hi. How are you? How's your mom? Skip all that. What do you need? What do you need? Because I know you hear that
Yeah.
animal screaming in the back. There's a child over there screaming. The kids are fighting. The dogs are fighting. My truck is breaking down. The kitchen's on fire. Please, quickly, what do you need? So I wish I could say that. I can't. So email and texting is the
Right.
absolute best. And the number is 706-751-5649.
Now, Brandy, I need you to do me a favor. I want you to close your eyes for a second
Uh-huh.
and I want you to dream big.
hmm
What would you like to see happen for your farm in
I
the
would like a
future?
full blown exotic zoo. So when you come onto the compound, I see tigers, I see bears, I see all types of reptiles, I see food trucks, I see fair games, I see singing and dancing, I see a gigantic pool where you could swim with animals of your choice. I see a restaurant with animals walking around freely in the restaurant, and I see a trampoline side of the park. I see a dog park, and I see tree homes just like in the movie Avatar.
Nice. Well, Brandy, from your from your lips to God's ears. And listen, you've been thinking about this for a while because it just came off naturally. You're like, I've
Yes.
been writing this down. Yeah, yeah. You've been dreaming about this for a long time because it
Hmm.
didn't take you very long at all to answer that question.
At all.
Yes. Yeah. Well, Brandy, I want to thank you so much, so much for coming on
No
to talk to me.
problem. Thanks for having me.
Yes, and thank you. And for those of you who are listening to this podcast, if you have an interesting story that you want to tell, please contact me. My information is in the show notes. I would love to have you as a guest. If this is your first time listening, I hope you have enjoyed this conversation and join us every Thursday. I'm going to post a new episode. So, yeah, thank you. Oh, wait, I'm always looking for snack suggestions. I see your husband's arm in the back.
Yep.
That was hilarious. Um, but I'm always looking for snack suggestions. So if you have a snack suggestion or a topic, you can also send me that information. And so until next episode, I want you all to be blessed and peace out.
Thank you for joining us today. Come back next Thursday for a new episode of At the Table with D. Monique podcast. Don't forget to bring a snack.